So I have this track that I wrote probably an hour ago, and I've just been kind of quantizing everything, lining everything up. And I kind of decided I wanted to show the process of how we get it to where, what it is now versus what it will be when finalized. And so far, I just have like this little riff idea and then a little breakdown idea. So I'll just go ahead and play that real quick to show what we're starting off with. So right off the bat, it's pretty heavy, pretty impactful. It's not 100% complete. Like for example, in, let's say this part here, I would pitch shift this part up to give it more of that Thall kind of like Humanity's Last Breath screech or Mirar. So there's that section. And then in the main breakdown, I think right around here. Yeah, that one I would pitch shift up as well. There's another section over here right before the breakdown, which I would probably do a lo-fi on. So that's just kind of going over a couple of the things that I'm going to doctor up. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get to that. And then, yeah, see kind of where it takes us. Okay, so right there, let's just focus on one track for now. So we'll mute the right track. So first thing I'm going to need is ring mod. It's nicer to go basically on your DI track. So ring mod, and then I like to use, I want to say it's this chorus as well, but I'll have to kind of see how it messes up the tone. So yeah, like what I like to do is try and find out basically if it really distorts how the sound is. That's kind of what I'm going for. So yeah, let's just say 3.5 might be nice. And then with ring mod, so right there, what I found with ring mod is I like it around the 388 hertz. This is like my sweet spot. Not really sure why, but it just is. We'll have to open Gojira back up. So yeah, you can kind of take that section, and what we're looking for is where it really, really, really messes it up. So play with the frequency a little bit. Okay, and the other effect I like is Inner Pitch 2 by Auburn Sounds, because this, let's zero it back out, at 0 versus 24, I almost said 24 octaves, 2 octaves up, 24 semitones. So if we're just focusing on this part, kind of has that nice screech that we're looking for. That being said, we've got the chorus, inner pitch, and ring mod. So in the amp sim, I would just go ahead and turn off the whammy as well as the octave. I would just turn those off because I'm not going to automate those. Actually, I might automate that I like how it really kind of breaks things up there. It just really kind of messes up the tone. I don't know, I kind of like it. Without it. With it. We'll come back to it. We'll leave it off for now. Because it sounds kind of good without it anyways. So, what we would need to do... Find that section right there. Go back up to here. And what I'll do is, since I'm automating just basically on and off, turn it off, then back on, parameter, track envelope, and then from here, it should be on. Oh, I don't know why that's not what I wanted it to do. Okay, let's do this. So we need it to be highlighted first, and then turn it off, turn it on. And then from here, parameter, track envelope. Yep, there we go, bypass, perfect. So, bypass should be normal. So we'll start here, cut this section out, punch it back in because we want it to return over here. Now we'll just copy and do that with everything. So inner pitch, on and off, parameter, envelope, same thing. And this is going to be normal versus bypass. So bypassed. Yeah, there we go. And then finally the ring mod, same thing, on off, envelope, normal, bypassed. So cut out that section right there. So that being said, the track should be played as normal except for where we've made this adjustment. Perfect. So basically, every section where I want it to pitch shift and do all that, I'll just draw those in. So right there at that dissonant chord, same thing. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I'm sure there's an easier way to draw these in, but this is just the way I've always done it, so it's kind of second nature. Cool, cool. Find out all the other places. Should be 2 more in this main riff. There we go, right at the dissonant. And look for the final one. There we go. And then we're going to do everything I just mentioned there on the right track. So I'll probably just cut away, do that real quick because it's probably boring to watch. It's literally going to be the exact same thing you just watched me do here, except on this track right here. So I'm going to load up this layer, do all that real quick, and then pretty much come back in and we'll progress further from there. Okay, so I just finished editing the right guitar track, so we'll just go ahead and play a couple of those sections. That way you can hear it in stereo. Just kind of adds that extra little emphasis instead of just the straight dissonant chord there. The part I was talking about wanting to add like a lo-fi section, I believe. Yeah, this section right here. So what we can do, let's start with the right track this time. There's probably a different way people like to do this, but this just is the way I've kind of always done it. I don't know, let's do like 2500 maybe. And then we'll boost this. Maybe, I don't know, 3 decibels. I widen that a little bit more. So then we can either... Sometimes what I'll do is I'll automate this. If I don't have a high pass, I'll take this side and kind of do it as a sweep like this. Or actually, I should do a better example there. Cuts in right here. Which is cool, but sometimes that like abrupt from here to straight up like this is kind of cool too. Because it kind of makes that impact a little bit harder, especially when the bass drop kicks in. So we'll just do like an on-off switch for this one, because I think for this instance, it might be a little bit cooler. If we don't like it, we can always go back and change it, but I think we'll play around with this for now. So this is going to be, once again, normal, and we need to bypass it, basically. So right there. Yeah, hell yeah. Same thing, we'll have to duplicate that for the left guitar, so they're doing the same exact thing. Move that back under here. Make the envelope. Make our cut here. Make sure everything lines up. Yeah, that sounds nice. So we've got another part in the breakdown that we need to automate the pitch. So let me remember where that is. Those right there. So it kind of goes into like that bend straight into the dissonant chord, which I thought was pretty cool. So we will justify that by seeing how it sounds once it's kind of automated. Whoops, there we go. Oh yeah, so that would be a good example of like how it would sound left and right with one messed up and one regular. Kind of almost sounds like, I don't even know. I don't even think I have a word for it, but well, I guess for some, don't ask me why it reminds me of an ice pick. No idea why, but. And then in the context of the full mix. Hell yeah. So we'll just have to find all the other ones and do the same thing. So yeah, this can sort of be a little bit tedious, but to be honest with you, I feel like by not copying pasting it, it makes me a little bit more like involved with the song, if that makes sense. It feels like it's like I actually took the time to craft it instead of just copying pasting it. So I don't know. That's a cool little feature. So the final one right at the end here. Okay, so that should be everything there. And then what we can do is just do like a full playthrough of everything to see how just making those kind of adjusted the whole thing. So just for the sake of making it easier to kind of A and B, we'll just do another test right here, A and B. That way you don't have to go all the way back to the front of the video. And then I will add everything back together and then play it back to back. So there'll be like a small little jump, but you'll be able to hear it raw versus how it sounds touched up. So here we go. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable and it kind of gave you some more insight onto some of the cool things you can do if you're working on making like a gent or Thall track and you're just looking for that extra little feature to kind of push it to the next level, I guess you could call it. Then hopefully this helps out and you can use it in your song.